welcome to this video. For those of you that don't know who I am, I'm Vicky, and today this video is all about sleep. So let's go. Now, I'm not here to talk about all the benefits of a good night's sleep because I'm pretty sure you've heard them all before from other trainers and other people in the fitness industry when they bang on about how good a good night's sleep is. That's great. What about if we can't have a good night's sleep? What about if we really struggle with sleep? What then? So I'm here to discuss and have an open discussion with you guys about how sleep and lack of sleep affects our bodies, our brains, and all that stuff. So we're going to go through some of the stuff and kind of talk about it a little bit. Now, I've always struggled with sleep, even since I was a baby. It's not one of them things where it's just popped up out of the blue and went, oh no, I can't sleep. It's not one of those things. For me, it's been pretty much a lifelong thing, really. So when I was a baby, apparently my mum got told off the midwives to wake me up every 2 hours to correct my sleeping pattern because I was awake through the night and asleep through the day, and that still tends to happen now. Even at 25, I still really struggle with sleep. So we're going to discuss a few things that it does to your body and your brain when we don't get a good night's sleep, and a few tips to do in order to get a good night's sleep, especially when you really struggle with sleep. So if we have a bad night's sleep or lack of sleep for a number of years, or it could be a number of weeks, it can actually have long-term effects on our bodies. So let's talk about the long-term effects of a lack of sleep, or sleep deprivation, if you will. So there's quite a number of things, and I'll quickly go through them and we can discuss a little bit as we go along. So the first one is memory issues. I do struggle with my memory. You can say, Vicky, can you make me a cup of tea? And then I'll go to, put the kettle on, put the water in the kettle, get your cup out, and then I'll be like, wait, did you say tea or coffee? And it's down to lack of sleep because my brain doesn't process it and be like, yeah, this person wants tea, this person asked for tea. And then I'll ask like 3 or 4 times, be like, what did you say again? Did you want tea or coffee? So that really does affect me, that one. Trouble with thinking and concentration. That was a massive factor for me in school. I really struggled paying attention. That used to get me in a little bit of trouble because I was bored. I used to complain that I was bored quite a lot. That's because I wasn't concentrating that well in school, so therefore I didn't do that well in school. That started at a very early age for me. Pretty sure it started in primary school for me. So that's when I first started noticing that I wasn't paying attention as much as I probably should. And that's when I remember not having a good night's sleep and or staying awake all night. That's when I first remember doing that, is when I was in primary school. Another thing is mood changes. So your mood can go from one mood to another. So you can be irritated, you can be emotional, you can be quick-tempered, and that is an effect of, or a long-term effect of, not having that much sleep on a night. Accidents is another one. A weakened immunity. So what that means is basically your body doesn't fight off like viruses or anything like that as well as it probably should, and that is a factor when it comes to sleep. Sleep does play a part in that. And for instance, like in the winter for me, I always used to get cold, or over the past couple of years it was always a chest infection. So that was always a big thing for me. I always used to get colds. High blood pressure, risk for diabetes, weight gain, a low sex drive, risk of heart disease, and poor balance. All that can come from not having sleep and not getting as much as sleep, and maybe having insomnia. So sleep is a massive thing, but we don't talk about not necessarily the benefits, but we don't talk about what it can do to us in the long run if we don't have enough of it, because we always bang on about, oh, these are the benefits of a good night's sleep. It's like, yeah, great, like none of that applies to me, because I really genuinely struggle with my sleep. Like, I can go to bed now, get my jammies on, and I'll be laid awake for God knows how many hours, not being able to actually get to sleep. So it's not a case of someone just telling me, oh, well, why don't you go to sleep at this time and then get up at this time? It's like, yeah, great, cool. I would have went to bed at that time, but doesn't mean that I'm gonna go to sleep straight away. And I understand it's to do with the environment and how you settle down to go to sleep and all that stuff. I understand that, but sometimes that is very difficult to do, and that doesn't always work. So noticeable signs of sleep deprivation, and those are excessive sleepiness, frequent yawning, irritability, and daytime fatigue. So I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about your nervous system in particular. So we're going to talk about the central nervous system. If you don't know what the central nervous system is, it's basically the main information highway in your body. That's what the central nervous system is. You might hear personal trainers call it the CNS. That's kind of the main one. And sleep is necessary in order for it to function properly. So it does affect our nervous system quite a lot. So usually if we have really bad night's sleep, and I mean not just a one-off bad night's sleep, I mean years under multiple bad night sleeps, if you will, it can disrupt how your body processes information and sends information. So when we are asleep, our brain is creating pathways between our nervous cells, or neurons, if you will. It helps your brain remember new information that you've learned, and if your brain is exhausted from lack of sleep, it's not going to perform as well as it should be, so therefore you're not going to process that information as best as you possibly can. I want to touch back on concentration a little bit. That also ties into learning new things, because you don't have the concentration in order to learn new things. So if you want to learn, I don't know, if you want to learn how to do a new exercise that you've never done, but if you have a very poor night's sleep and you really generally struggle with sleep in general, not just one day, it can have an impact on how you learn that exercise and how it gets processed in your brain when you're asleep. So those new pathways won't necessarily create that well. So that's how some people may struggle to learn new exercises or learn new things in general. So like, sleep is a massive thing, and it's not as easy as saying, oh well, go to bed early, you'll be fine, you'll be able to get to sleep. It's like, no, like, I generally won't be able to. So lately, since we've been in a lockdown, like, I really generally struggled with my sleep. So this morning, like, you know, as I'm recording this, I went to sleep at 5 o'clock this morning because my brain just wouldn't switch off. Like, I tried to watch YouTube videos that I normally watch in order to get to sleep, which is an anxiety thing. Like, my brain just wouldn't switch off. It just wouldn't let me actually go to sleep. So I ended up going to sleep at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then I woke up at like 9 or 10, one of the two, or 11 o'clock. And then I went back to sleep and then woke up at like 1 or 2. So and there has been quite a few times where, like I've mentioned it before, like, I've went to school and next to no sleep, find a struggle to concentrate, and that still happens to me today. So starting in pure gym, like, exercise doesn't help me sleep. It does help me become tired, but it kind of really doesn't help me sleep that well, because you know, I've exercised or taken part in classes kind of late at night, or latest classes that we used to put on, it still never used to help me get to sleep. So no matter how much exercise I did, it doesn't really help me in a way, I guess. Or it doesn't help my body, or my brain in particular, get tired enough to go to sleep. So there's been a few times where I have done my shifts on next to no sleep. I've taught classes on next to no sleep. So you'll be able to tell when I haven't had that much sleep. Mainly the bags underneath my eyes. Me not being able to hold a conversation with you. It's not because I don't want to, it's because I generally can't process what you are saying to me at that time, and my brain isn't processing it as quick as it should, so therefore my response might be a little bit delayed. So I do have like my go-to sayings, if you will. I'll be like, alright, okay, cool, or like, oh yeah, yeah, and it will be a lot of that, especially if I've had next to no sleep, or when I'm in a class and I'm trying to concentrate. I will mess up how to do exercises a little bit, so I might stumble over my words. That's a telltale sign for me, stumbling over my words, especially if, you know, it's a class that I regularly do. Like, over the years I've been able to do all the teaching points for certain exercises pretty quickly in a class. When you put next to no sleep and a class together, for me, I stumble over my words. I find it very difficult to actually physically take part in it because I'm exhausted. Typically tends to be when you've had next to no sleep. Them are the telltale signs for me personally, other than the fact that I complain that I am tired quite a lot. Even if, you know, if you ask my work colleagues, they know, like, I do complain that I'm tired quite a lot, and that is down to lack of sleep and not being able to stay asleep. So if sleep deprivation continues long enough, you could start having hallucinations, or seeing things or hearing things that aren't really there. Luckily I haven't experienced that, but I know for some people that is the case, or might be the case. I'm pretty lucky that I'm not at that point, even though I've struggled with sleep since I was a baby, and like I said, I'm now 25, so it's been a long ass time. Lack of sleep can also trigger mania in people who have bipolar mood disorder. Other psychological risks include impulsive behaviour, anxiety, depression, paranoia, and suicidal thoughts. Like, I'm a believer that we all suffer from mental health problems, some more severe than others. Others, it might just touch the surface and they might have like the odd like bad day, if you will. But I do believe, you know, we all suffer in some which way, shape or form, and anxiety and depression tend to kind of sometimes go together. You know, I do quite a lot of things due to anxiety, which I never knew I did, up until I watched a YouTube video, believe it or not, of I think, I don't know how to pronounce her name, but it's Amy from The Big Bang Theory, Mayim Balak, I think you pronounce it. She has her own YouTube channel and she has a podcast. I'm a big fan of watching podcasts rather than listening to them. So she has a podcast called Breakdown, so where she breaks down our breakdowns, and one of them was anxiety and the amount of things that I do due to anxiety. So and she breaks it down, like, she discusses it in way much more detail and easier to understand than I probably ever will. So I'll link that video. Let's discuss signs of sleep problems. Now, the website that I'm currently on is an NHS website, and I will link all the websites that I got all my information from down below, so you can check it out and have a little nosy yourself. I'm just touching on the surface at the minute, because I'm sure psychologically and all that stuff, like it can go a lot deeper, and it's a lot deeper than we probably think it is, because our brains are all wired different, which that fascinates me. But we are all wired different, so what might work for me might not work for you, especially when it gets to going to sleep or anything in life. What might work for me, it might not work for you. That's just the way that we are designed, if you will. So the signs of sleep. You find it difficult to fall asleep. I do that. I find it very difficult to fall asleep. You lie awake for long periods at night. I do that. One thing that I have found is if you are lying awake for long periods of night is to physically get up out of bed, go write everything down, or go do something that you find relaxing, and do that until you feel sleepy, and then get back into bed and then try again. Because we don't want to associate our brains with, right, we can't sleep, so we're gonna lie here for hours on end and stay awake, because then your brain starts thinking, oh well, I can't sleep in this place, so we're gonna stay awake. So it's not going to allow you to actually go to sleep in the first place, because your brain has now associated you going to bed with you staying awake. Wake up several times during the night. It's another thing that I do. Wake up early and be unable to get back to sleep. I've started doing that in the past couple of years, I've noticed. So I'll wake up at ridiculous times. So, you know, I'll be awake, I'll go to sleep at like 9, I'll wake up at 12 a.m. And then I'll be awake for the rest of the night because I won't be able to get back to sleep. Go to sleep at like a pretty decent time, but then I will wake up at like 3 or 4 in the morning and I'll be wide awake. So I'm just like, stuff it, I'll get up and start my day. Or I'll watch YouTube videos that, you know, relax me a little bit, and then maybe try and go back to sleep for a little bit. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Feel down or have a lower mood. Now, we've mentioned before that it does affect your mental health in so many ways. So sleep literally affects everything in a way. And it affects a lot more things than we probably think it does. So it does affect your mental health. I know if I've had a very rough night's sleep and or I've had next to no sleep, I feel absolutely shit. My mental health will be like, it will be non-existent. Like it will be as low as it possibly can go for that day. So I do, if I do feel that way, I do tend to do a self-care day. Maybe that can be, maybe I can turn that into like a little video. So these are the things that I do for self-care, especially when I'm having a bad mental health day. Maybe that can be a helpful video for you guys. Let me know, because that'd be great. You have difficulty concentrating. We've discussed this earlier on in the video. I do struggle with concentrating. So 5 years of school wasn't a good thing for me. So I do little bursts of things I've noticed. So I'll concentrate when I can concentrate, and when I do, that's when I'll do a little bit of work. But if I can't concentrate, there's no point trying to get me to concentrate, because I'm just going to tell you where to go and it's not going to be nice. Again, that all ties back into the whole mood thing, and being irritated very easily. So again, it all ties in. Being more irritable than usual. That is a massive thing, especially when I've had next to no sleep. I will snap quite a lot, which isn't a good thing. Feel like you have not slept well when you wake up in the morning. Again, I do pretty much all that list. So I can go to sleep at a reasonable time and then wake up at a decent time to start my day, and I will still feel like I've had next to no sleep. Long-term sleep problems can lead you to feel like your relationships are suffering, whether that's romantic relationships or friendships. You know, that again, it all ties in. It ties in with depression, it ties in with anxiety, it ties in with lack of sleep for me. That's why I only have a small group of friends, and unfortunately I have lost touch with the people that I went to college with, well, the majority of them, even though I still consider them really good friends. It's just all of this that we're discussing right now that kind of plays a massive part in friendships, the friendships that I've had since I was little, or the friendships that I created when I was in college, even like work friendships. Like, you know, sometimes I'll not put anything in the group chat when it requires a response. If it's not specifically aimed at me, sometimes I'll not answer. I'll not make a funny struggle to maintain a social life. Just discuss that there. I do struggle to maintain a social life, especially with sleep, because the amount of times I've, you know, turned down hanging out with friends to sleep, whether that's me as a teenager, or me now, I will probably turn you down to sleep. Having a hard time doing everyday tasks. I do struggle with that. Especially at work when I've had next to no sleep. That really generally does hit me quite hard sometimes. Sometimes, like, I'll be like, right, I've got to get up, I've got to go in the shower, I've got to get my clothes on, and then I've got to get my bag sorted, then I've got to go to work, and then when I'm at work, I'm meant to do the cleaning, and then it's just like literally doing one thing at a time for me, especially if I've had next to no sleep. I'll find it very difficult to concentrate. So if I'm having a conversation with you when I'm cleaning, I will literally stop cleaning and have that conversation with you and have all my attention on you, because my brain at that time is just like, nope, we can't do this, we can't clean and have this conversation, that's not gonna happen for you right now. Feel hungrier and snack more, and that is a thing that I do, even though my goal at the minute is to put on weight, which I feel like I'm doing. I don't have skills at home because this idiot left the gym without their skills, so my skills are currently at the gym, and the gym is closed, so I got none. So I feel like I am putting on a little bit of weight. I feel like I am getting stronger, which is my main goal. But I do snack quite a lot. Who doesn't love a good snack? I feel tired during the day. Like I said, all my colleagues know me for complaining about being tired. And these are long-term sleep problems, and they can lead to long-term sleep problems. The amount of times I've probably said to all my colleagues, I'm tired. I'm tired. I am tired. They'll all be rich right now. If that was a game that we were playing, I want to know whether any of these fit you, or you fit any of these, because, you know, like I keep saying throughout this video, I do struggle with sleep. It's not one of those things where it's just like, oh, go to bed earlier. And quickly, a few things that I do in order to be able to sleep, is, I mentioned one of them throughout this, is I physically get up out of bed if I can't sleep, and I will write everything down, whether that's doodling, whether that's every single thought that's flying around my brain goes down on a piece of paper. I'd rather not do it on a laptop, because you won't be able to process your thoughts if you do it on a laptop. If you write it down, you'll be able to process it a little bit more. So write it down rather than go on your laptop or your tablet. Another thing that I do is I will physically get up out of bed and I will go make a cup of tea, or go make something hot, or some sort of hot drink that doesn't have that much caffeine in, and I will hop back in bed, try to go to sleep, try not to go on my phone, because I'm you know, I really struggle with, oh well, if I can't sleep I can just go on my phone, or I can just go on my tablet and play games or watch YouTube videos or things like that. But like I said, I'll get a cup of tea, go back to bed, drink it, Sometimes that doesn't work, so I'll try a different way, which is I will read up until I feel sleepy. That's a big thing for me. I'll always have a book on the go, mainly because if I can't sleep, I will read up until I feel sleepy. So there's numerous things that you can do in order to help you. You just gotta find the right ones. So I can go on there's the things that we've discussed today. Like I'm sure there's like a whole load of information out there that I haven't even touched on. I've probably just touched the surface, if that, in this video. I wanted to make this video mainly because we don't discuss what happens if we don't sleep. We all discuss the benefits of a good night's sleep, but we don't talk about the side effects of lack of sleep or next to no sleep. It is a serious thing, it is a massive thing, it plays, in your mental health, it plays in all areas that you probably never thought it did. If any of these resonate with you, please let me know in the comments below and we'll have a little discussion, or drop me a message and we'll discuss it a little bit more there. Because I love to have these kind of open discussions on topics that we wouldn't necessarily discuss, because like I keep saying, we always discuss the benefits of a good night's sleep, but we never discuss the downside of not being able to sleep properly. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Give it a like, comment down below, let's start discussion, and I'll see you in the next one.